Through the magic of podcasting, we are now joined by a writer for the site, Stephen. His reviews on Sharp Objects and Unforgotten can be found at the website thecustardtv.com. However, we're here today to talk about the final episode of The Handmaid's Tale and the season as a whole. The final episode aired on Sunday on Channel 4.
It was where Serena decided that she wanted a better future for the baby. But Serena went and had a conference in front of all of the male leaders of Gilead and read some of the Bible. She didn't want the daughter brought up in such an atmosphere because since these women came from before, they were allowed to read, even if they're not now, but their daughters will not have that same privilege. So she wanted to put forward to the council that younger girls should be entitled to read so that they can also learn God's way. And I'm not sure if they would have ever really considered it, but it was going all right until she started reading from the Bible and then all of the other women left. Serena was punished because of her actions. And I think that was really where she realised that this isn't ever going to work. And when June got the opportunity to escape, Serena didn't resist in taking letting her take the baby with her.
Of Glenn, as she was, takes her moment to take revenge on Aunt Lydia, something that fans of the show have been wanting for a long time, to see her suffer in a similar manner to how she's made the handmaid suffer over time. So there was that, and as you alluded to, June gets a chance to escape and leave, and for reasons I'm still not entirely clear on, gives the baby over to Emily, and the Talking Heads Burning Down the House plays in the background while Offred or June looks fiercely into the camera. And I kind of felt a little bit let down. This is why I wanted to have this conversation. I felt a little bit let down because I didn't expect to fall under the spell of The Handmaid's Tale this time as much as I did. I appreciated it last series for what it was. I found it a bit of a slog. I found it hard going, but I thought it was an important and well executed piece of television. This series, which went completely away from the books, and just went on its own way, was just so mesmerising to me, and I lapped it up. I felt like they made so many good decisions over the course of these final few episodes, bringing in Bradley Whitford, and he was a really fascinating character. I was even starting to sympathise with Serena, and the idea of her not escaping when she's had this choice, and the fact that everyone else left that I cared about, made me sort of think they've burned through story too quickly.
If it's another 13 episodes, I think they're going to struggle. There's not a great deal of story left, as far as I'm concerned.
I think there may have been if they hadn't have done that ending abruptly.
I wasn't as invested in the Bradley Whitford character. I don't think they explained him very
well.
But
the beard, Matt, the beard.
The beard,
the
okay,
beard.
Yeah, there was a beard. They could still explore that. The sort of the beginnings of Gilead almost was when she was in the Boston Globe, and we got a little bit of that at the beginning as well. His almost sort of regret of how far it's got sort of thing, and his disregard for his own rules. And I read somewhere that the creators said they could do up to 10 seasons, and I'm like, no, can't.
It wasn't the creator, it's the head of Hulu. It is basically Hulu's only hit, really. Their big mainstream hits, so you would try and keep it on for as long as possible.
You know, they had to do something if they were going to do a third season, and they really had to keep June in Gilead, so it was plausible reason that she wanted to take her first daughter, Hannah, and get her out of Gilead as well. But I'm hoping that it's not another 13, because I don't think there's a lot without retreading the same ground. There's not a lot of places they can take it, in my opinion.
I was thinking to myself at the time, this is solely just for the purpose of them getting another season. It did feel a bit contrived at the time, but I think I can see why they potentially did it now.
The first 3 episodes, it was almost like series 2A and 2B, if you like, because you had the first 3 episodes where, you know, she'd escaped and she was in the Boston Globe, and then they brought her back again, and then it felt to me like season 2 really kicked in on episode 4 when she was back, you know, living with the Waterfords. And I mean, I still think Elizabeth Moss is fantastic, and I mean that episode where, you know, the one where she gives birth is stunning. You know, it's mainly just her. I mean, I enjoyed this series because there was a lot more separate strands now. You know, you're not just stuck in Gilead. You can go to the colonies, you can go to Canada for a bit. You've established all these different characters in different areas, and obviously they still do the flashbacks as well. So I think the pace of it has been a bit better this time. It's still a bit of a slog, and I think I found it being at 13 a bit long, but individual episodes I really, really liked.
Where could they take it that all of us would be happy? Because I feel like Serena's still there, obviously, the Commander's still there. I would imagine that Ann Dowd as Lydia will return because she might win an Emmy later this year.
In a wheelchair or something.
I honestly have no idea where it's going to go from here. I just have somewhat faith that if they end it that way, they know where they're going.
The setup has been such a huge part of it in terms of the fact that she was in the home, that it was very much in the Waterford house for the first season. And I was totally shocked at the start of the season when she escaped. So then they brought her back into it in season 2, and I was worried that it was going to be a bit repetitive considering we went through all of this in the first season. But I think there was enough originality there to play out to the end of this season. I don't think that could work for a third. I think there'll have to be something massively different moving forward. Otherwise, we're just going to risk repeating the exact same storylines again.
They haven't really set anything up, have they? They haven't. No. Oh, I wonder what happens there. I think that's the. Apart from the obvious, you know, June wants to get her daughter, there isn't like separate smaller strands of, oh, you know, we need to finish this off. Because normally when you go into a new season, you've got all the things that you still need to know, but there isn't a lot really with The Handmaid's Tale, in my opinion.
Let's talk briefly about one of the most overworked actresses on US television at the moment, Sydney Sweeney, who was in Everything Sucks at the start of the year, then The Handmaid's Tale, then basically she's, apart from Everything Sucks, spoiler alert if you haven't seen that, that's the one show I've seen her in where she doesn't have a horrific death, or any death, now I think about it. That again was a story they could have told over a longer period. We could have got to know Eden a bit before the horrific scenes in the swimming baths. Do you think that was something else they rushed, or do you think the character would have worn thin and they did it at the right time?
I do think they rushed it a bit towards the end. She would never betray anyone. She wanted to be a part of Gilead from the very beginning, and then all of a sudden in one episode, I didn't get an impression that she was with that guard, and then all of a sudden they were together, and then the next episode they like ran away together. It would have been better had they had slightly more episodes, or if they'd focused a bit more on that as it went on. I do think they potentially killed her off a bit too quickly.
Especially because she's young, and she's the first character that we've seen that's grown up in the world and doesn't know anything other than that. It wasn't as if she had a life prior to Gilead being a thing, so it would have been interesting to spend more time with her and see this world through her eyes.
She at times almost felt like a bit of a plot device rather than a fully fledged character, which is a shame because, you know, Sydney Sweeney is a great young actress, so. But yeah. I think the sort of the death scene, they needed a sort of spectacular moment in that penultimate episode, and I think that sort of provided it, really. Now
I'm looking back at it and analysing it, I enjoyed the season a lot. It's probably one of my favourite shows of the year, and I'm going to think about it a lot. But the pacing of it was odd now we look back, because things happen quickly and other things happen slowly.
Yeah.
I feel like they know what they're doing and where they're going, but it was interesting the way you said 13 was too many, but we're also saying that things should have lasted a bit longer. It's a strange thing that we don't often say about a TV show, that it was too long, but we wanted bits to be more fleshed out.
There is a bit of a debate going on online. Most people say they cannot sit through, they're happy with one episode a week. I'm the total opposite. I really wish that it was all released in one go. I would love to binge watch it. I probably will rewatch the whole series again before Series 3 starts, even though it's affected me probably more than any other piece of entertainment I've ever sat through. Yeah. I do think about it a lot. I love watching it. I really love watching it. It's really compelling.
Do you like dystopian stuff? Because this is about as far out of my comfort zone with a TV show I'd probably gone outside of The Leftovers, which is similar. So do you seek out dystopian stuff, or is it just this that has really spoken to you for whatever reason?
In general, I do like dystopian stuff, but I think that they can suffer from a lot of plot contrivances and whatnot. But I think the fact that this one was so excellently written, like, I know people like yourself don't like this type of genre and have found this incredibly addictive because it's so well written. I don't think there's anything specifically generic about it. I think it's excellently written.
It was a brave move to get through the whole book in the first season, because then you've got to do more of your own stuff. It's got to feel authentic. It's got to feel like the source material, but you haven't got any of it to look back on. One of my favourite moments was the barn episode that you likened to the 24th episode where Kim is attacked by the cougar very nearly.
The whole episode, just
the wolf
bit
moment.
With the wolf stalking round. I thought, oh, here we go, Kim Bauer and with the cougar. The series as a whole did, I think, suffer from sort of pacing problems, but individual episodes, I thought that was brilliant. And the one where it's with baby Angela when she's ill, and they try and get Janine to sit with her and trying to convince the men to let that happen, and I thought that was a really good one. But I think individual episodes will stick with me, but I think the series as a whole maybe not.
Finally then, I just wanted to talk about the way they cleverly shifted my allegiances, I suppose. I felt sympathy for Lydia. I think they made her a more sympathetic character this year. I think you could see her wavering slightly, but more so Serena as well. I mean, that was never something I was expecting, and I think
I think they were trying to do that for a while. I think you saw that she was the more intelligent part of that marriage. You saw that she was breaking down and she was questioning whether it was a good idea, and her motivation is wanting a child. And I'm assuming when she was she shot outside that lecture or stabbed? I can't remember.
She was shot, I think.
Shot.
Yeah. She was shot.
I'm assuming that had something to do with why she can't have children.
Yeah.
And I think the reason for her sticking in Gilead was to have a child, and you got that impression. And I think the performance from Yvonne Strakowski in this was probably my favourite, over Elizabeth Moss.
If the handmaids that are all in the colonies or escape to Canada, who'd have thought that Canada would be a great place to escape to? But if they have all gone now, and the focus is on Elizabeth Moss trying to track down Hannah and confronting Serena, is that going to be enough for you, just that, as far as Elizabeth Moss is concerned, Stephen? Or do you want her... I don't know whether she'll be fighting against anything this time.
It's definitely going to be completely different this time. But yeah, I think for me that would be enough to keep it watching. The episode that you were talking about a minute ago, the one where she solo held it, is one of my personal favourites. So I completely think she will be enough to hold my interest.
I mean, yeah, the moments when she was going to shoot them in that house that didn't... There's definitely something electric about the three of them together. I just hope that, like I said, that the ideas that they have for the third season don't change what I enjoy so much about it to the point where it doesn't feel enough like The Handmaid's Tale for me to gravitate towards it in the same way.